Hey everyone, let's take a little stroll down into 8.14 and see what has changed, who you're going to want to pick or ban in your games now. As always, there is a list and timestamps down in the description with the explanations in the video. AD carries are finally making a comeback, but the focus is definitely on being useful as soon as possible in the game and winning lane. So mostly that would be like Misfortune, Jhin, Draven, and some Lucian. Jhin is starting us all off today. He's much better with Halo Blades and the Stormrazor bug fix that came in a few patches ago, which fixed with the 4th shot. You have a really good lane phase, you've got really good pushing with your Q as well, and that's really good poke if you can make it kill a few minions first and then hit the person. It's not just damage though, you have a lot of setup for ganks, which means that when your jungler comes bot lane, a damaged jungler most likely, they're going to be able to stick on that person much easier. Halo Blades, even early game, is a lot of AD, by the way. It's a really good trading tool. You wait for it to be up, you go in, you use it, and you're going to come out on top. Stormrazor plus Rapid Fire Cannon, Halo Blades, AD, Infinity Edge, when you get to that point, it's a very long range, high damage crit into your W route for setup afterwards in teamfights. Misfortune is going to be the easiest AD carry to play. You're more ability based, obviously. You just press your ultimate and kind of like everything does it for you. You have a really good lane phase though. You're going to have your love tap, you have your bounce as well, so you have good trading with love tap, you have good control with your Q bounces and damage from range. There are a lot of different playstyles you can go for, so there is still crit and conqueror with Stormrazor. It's very high damage, and Stormrazor plus your love tap is pretty good, but Ethadzi and Dark Harvest is best in my opinion. We talked about this the other day. I'll link that video below if you want to go into depth with that one properly and use the build, but it's just really good at the moment. Dark Harvest makes you scale like a monster. You have insane burst. You can apply it with your Q as well with love tap and also a dust blade. The other three I want to talk about, like Draven, Stormrazor, or Bloodthirster, doesn't really matter. Either is a solid build, and Conqueror nerfs didn't hurt you that much, so you're still very good. Lucian can ability the lane phase. You can display your skill very well with your combos and stuff, and you have really good mobility. Jinx keeps getting buffed. I don't know why, but she does. She has a good early actually for a crit champion, and Stormrazor is a lot of damage. You have an AoE crit with that thing. If you don't want to play an AD carry, I've got you covered with the bot lane stuff. So Swain is worse now, actually. It seems like that nerf hit a bit more than we thought it would. It was the ultimate damage. Quinn is a very good champion, though, anyway, at the moment, but Blind is so overpowered versus AD carries. The Stormrazor is a great first item if you're going to play bot lane Quinn. You can get a static shift afterwards as well for a guaranteed crit with that. But with a bit more help and a support there, you should be getting a bit more farm, more kills, and easier to play crit ready. You can roam amazingly well, obviously, but you're going to be focusing on just winning that 2v2 really, really hard. Your number one prey, remember, is going to be in your lane. You want to kill the AD carry or the squishy support. If the enemy support roams, which they always do as well, by the way, you can hunt down the enemy AD carry really easily. He is in your lane. Yasuo is still very tough for AD carries to play against, and you have low base stats right now, which means it's very hard to bully him out of lane. He's got his passive shield, he has his wind wall as well to try and survive and just kind of farm up till he gets that first item, and then he can really go nuts. You have good damage, you have good mobility, you're going to have good chase down as well, just to kind of basic Yasuo things really, but the support makes that easier. So mid lane had a decent shakeup, honestly. Like more than any other role, this is where you're going to notice the difference. Talon dropped down with those W nerfs, and we see a lot more Ahri, a lot more Vel'Koz, Zed, and even some Aurelion Sol now. Ahri was overbuffed, and I called this from a mile away, by the way, in both my patch videos. Rank 1 charm lasting 1.4 seconds now is a long time in a team fight. It's very punishing to get hit by this. It's not just going to last forever, but especially after the 20% damage amp was added onto that at the same time. So if you get hit, you are stuck there and you're going to take so much damage. Her win rate skyrocketed after this patch. It is at a really high level at the moment. There is no real surprise though. The buff is there from early game all the way to late. You max your charm last. That is why you're going to have this like extended duration the entire time. You have a lot of damage now anyway, which they buffed before. You now hold them in place for longer so you can kill them or your team can follow up, and you're still very mobile and you can push. Vel'Koz was also a little bit overbuffed in my opinion as well. We're going to probably see him a little bit more over the patch though. 80% AP ratio on his Q now, so if you get hit by that over and over, it's really gonna hurt. It's not even the easiest thing to dodge, to be honest. I mean, it's not that easy to hit either, but versus a good Vel'Koz, he's more likely to hit you than you are to dodge it. You also have very good wave clear from your W, so you can line that up and go nuts. You have really good poke though, but you have good hard engage from your knockup, good true damage, and then your ultimate to finish everything off. Aurelion Sol is kind of borderline overpowered right now. Early game mage who can push and then roam endlessly. We're kind of lucky that not many people play him because he's extremely strong when played correctly, and I think honestly he probably is going to get a nerf pretty soon because Aurelion Sol mains are abusing it way too much. Zed is probably going to be the best assassin again right now in 8.14. You have good damage, you have good roaming and playmaking as well, and he's rising up more again now that talent is a little bit worse. So I want to talk about Fizz as my honorable mention because he's a lot worse after these changes. Normally I talk about one who's a bit underrated, but this time it's going to be like an avoid, a warning, I guess, for this one. They reworked his W, right? No priming anymore. It gives on-hit damage instead. That's kind of basically the short version. His win rate heavily dropped though. Probably needs a few buffs or at least to find a new build that plays around it a little bit more. Jungle is still one of the most important solo queue roles at the moment since mid-jungle has a lot of control over the map early, and early game is so key to winning the game. But the top 4 for me would be Nocturne, Taliyah, Kindred, and Evelynn. Eve is being banned more and more every single day. It's back to those good old times where you just don't really want to play against her. She is a typical Smurf champion, by the way. If you're smurfing as a jungler, you're probably going to be playing Eve because it's really easy to be worse players. You have insanely high damage output. You don't even need to really hit your charm properly anymore to actually be able to kill somebody. Your ultimate execute helps with that. It means you scales through the game decently as well, but it also provides much needed escape and playmaking potential. You can like jump over walls, you can outplay people or exit a fight. Then there is obviously the stealth. It has to change how you play the game. If you don't respect that, you don't change, then it's very easy for her to punish you, and that is why Smurfs abuse it. Kindred was given a lot of buffs recently, so they are going to be my other one. Even if you're not that great, it doesn't honestly matter. Your damage takes a little bit of a while to get off in a fight, but it is a massive chunk when you do it. You have good farm, you have good dueling, you kind of want to hunt down people, actually get your marks and just kite around. If you do manage to stack for free, like you get the camps and stuff, the enemy jungler doesn't stop you, then you're almost guaranteed to be strong in a game, and most junglers are not that active in stopping you. Your ultimate is also a really good counter to high cooldown damage. So think of a Zed ult, for example. He can't use that again, obviously, once he's used it, not for quite a long time, so your ult can counter that. Nocturne is going to be one of the best counter gank junglers in the game at the moment, though. His vision denial is next level. It's crazy for team fights. He has high AD, high damage, his fear, he can access the backline, the list goes on. Taliyah's farming is great still, a good single target damage from very high range, but you also have your burst and you have your poke at the same time. Not many champions have both. You have really good roaming with your ultimate, and you're actually a pretty good duelist because you kite people around and stay away from them. Now, Udyr is probably the closest thing we have to a freeload jungler right now if you play it well and you have a good game plan. If you're going to cheese or you're going to take every crab or something, like the combo of your stun and tiger damage is nuts. There are so many different runes that work as well, which is a sign of a good champion. You have Pressy Attack, you have Conqueror, Lethal Tempo, even Phase Rush as well. You can do kind of whatever you like. Now, support is actually the most like standardized role right now that we have. It's so weird, but it's not changing that much at all. We still have a ton of Fiddlesticks, Brand, Zyra, Morgana, and Nami. Fiddle is the most busted support, hands down. It is not just the poke, even though that does a lot of damage and it's hard to play against. It's not even just the pushing that comes out of that, like naturally in the lane. It's not the silence that bounces. It's not even his ultimate damage that he can go from over a wall into a team fight and turn it around. It is the fear, 100%, the point and click fear that you cannot miss. Why, you probably could, but it's really hard to. Late game, it is a huge shutdown to anybody that wants to jump into a fight. So think an assassin or a bruiser or something like that. It gives your AD carry free time, and it lasts 2.25 seconds when maxed for point and click. It is ridiculous. Brand and Zyra, when they're picked as supports, are the carries bot lane. Brand is my go-to ban at the moment. Every single game is very difficult to play against him. His poke is very high, so you're constantly trying to dodge everything. You're getting shoved though, so you can't really get too close to him. You get caught by one stun though, one passive like with that circle around you, and you're gonna be dead. On average, he actually puts out more damage per game than AD carries. I know that sounds really weird, but Jhin's average damage is 20,000 per game, and Brand is almost 21,000. Later, he's gonna fall off a little bit for sure, but he has the potential to 1v2 the lane phase and then win it. Morgana can be very strong in the lane phase. You can bind and set up a lot of plays, but you could also be really good defensively. You can kind of bind to deny ganks, you deny playmaking with your shield, and you turn them around afterwards. Nami is still really good for the lane phase. She's a bully, but also really good healing, which helps your AD carry, but it's also Athene's. This item was buffed, and it is great for a lot of champions like Sona, like Soraka, like Nami, if they want a bit more damage. Pyke is the last one I want to talk about. It's kind of like the Zed of supports. This is the best way I could put this. Like, he could either be insane or garbage. You have amazing crowd control in your kit, and he's very hard to focus. If you focus him, you're probably going to mess it up, honestly. He can duck out of vision, and then he stuns as he runs. You have really good roaming with him as well, with the stealth and like the crowd control you have. You have the resets with your ultimate that can kind of make or break team fights. Now, top lane finally is a bit all over the place, to be honest. It's really hard to get a read on the meta at the moment. There aren't as many like must bans, I guess, anymore after the Aatrox nerfs. So Trynd is getting a lot more popular though, and this is one I want to focus on because the thing is actually AP Trynd. Okay, so crit is still good. You can play AD normal Trynd if you want to, and that's still going to win you games. But AP, ability power Tryndamere with Nash's and Lichbane, then Rageblade after that, so like an AP attack speed Tryndamere has an insane win rate. Your Q has an AP ratio for the heal. Your E has 100% AP ratio on the spin as well. So it's kind of like a very weird mix of auto damage, a bit of burst, a bit of one-hit damage, Lichbane proc, spinning, healing, and Rageblade to boost everything up. We've already talked about Quinn, but I see her a lot higher ranks right now, and I don't think I've ever seen a bad Quinn. Well, I've seen a bad Quinn, but she still gets fed. I don't think it's going to be too long until she gets a nerf. Apparently, so far, her win rate before 30 minutes in the game on patch 8.14 is just over 57%. That is insane, but it does make some sense, actually. You're blind and you're constantly harassing the lane phase with your Ahri and stuff to get a lane advantage, makes it very difficult to play against. Your roams at 6 to other lanes are very easy and are going to get you a lot more kills as well. This is why Ghostblade is normally the first item for top lane Quinn. You have the natural out of combat move speed and also the active to get in. You can 100% burst people pretty much throughout the entire game. The combo is not that difficult to pull off either. I picked it up in one game. Garen is still technically probably the best top laner to play considering his win rate at the moment. You have this monster build with Cleaver and Sterix and he just runs at people, presses Q, and it doesn't seem like anybody has an answer. Darius is the highest banned top laner though. He can dominate lane phase and then just steamroll over you the entire game pretty much. Like nowhere is safe. He can dive you, he can run his team fights, get the reset. There's not much you can do. Mundo is a massive meat shield and once he gets to level 11, it's very hard to kill him. But get him to level 16 and it's like good luck. You're never ever going to burn him down until the ultimate is over. So that is what the 8.14 meta looks like. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching until the very end. For now, I will leave you with the robots.